So it's bye-bye Nissan Primera as per the previous video, and it's hello new vehicle. And this is an unexpected one. I wasn't necessarily expecting to own said vehicle, but this is it. It is a Citroen C5. It's quite an early C5. It's on an 5.2 plate, so it's late 2002. So pretty early in the production run. It's got some slightly yellow headlamps, slightly ill-fitting bumper, but cosmetics bother me not at all, as you well know, because I can't be bothered cleaning cars, so that's all good. But I love the styling of the estates, and there's some really nice features as well. Open up the boot. We've got a slight issue where it's sagging a bit, so I need to look into that. I'm not actually sure where the struts are that hold it up, but you have a button to raise and lower the height of the car in the back. And I like that very much. That's a neat feature. Got a tow bar. It's got twin electrics. Do not tell Miss Hubner it has twin electrics. And there is the car just settling itself back up again. Got some nice winter track tyres on the back. Decent grip on the front. So this is all looking good, really. It's got a load cover. It's got roof bars. Practical family motoring, and importantly, comfort. I once drove one of these all the way to Paris, which was a pleasure. That was a hatchback, the one that looks like a saloon. But yeah, it's all very plasticky in here. 131,000 miles, so a fair bit fewer than the Primera. Aftermarket radio, which actually works. Oh, that's my jump pack. I probably shouldn't leave it right there. That's been useful. Very many thanks to the person who sent me that. I've been charging that up today. Look, we've got armrests on the front seats even, which don't always lock where you want them to. Power outlets everywhere. Suspension height control lever there, because unlike the GSA, this was the new era of Citroen hydraulic suspension. It's hydractive free, so it's got a certain amount of cancelling out the body roll, but not Activa levels of it. And it also lowers the car at speed as well, so that's going to be quite exciting to get used to. See if we notice that as we're driving along. But yeah, it's a different hydraulic system. It uses LDS fluid. There's an electric pump, which is why you can adjust the suspension height even when you're not going anywhere. So that's all exciting stuff. It's conventional power steering and brakes, so in a way it's less proper Citroen, it's less unusual, but in some ways it's still very much a Citroen. If you jack them up and drop them too hard, the tank, oh, there's the Primera, the tank can explode, which is considered undesirable by many people. I would love to do a more detailed walk around, but unfortunately I'm running really late for dinner, so we're still going to get all the way back to Wales. So let's remind myself where I've put the key, and here it is. It's a big old chunky thing. Look at the size of that. Remote central locking as well. Separate keys for the boot lid, and check we're in neutral. And there we go. The engine thunders into life. Should be good. So check it's got some clutch bite. Yep, it's got clutch bite, so that's good. It's got air conditioning that doesn't work, so the eco button is pressed because there's no point having the aircon trying to work otherwise. Yeah, these boxes are missing, but you know, quite funky trim going on. But let's get you in the mount and get on our way and say one last goodbye to the Primera. It has served me well. Okay, here we go. This is actually my first drive.
Thank you very much. You too.
Ta-da! There we go. So far it all feels very conventional. It's a bit big. Oh yeah, slightly different power delivery to a certain Primera. We can get out this way, I believe. Got a quarter of a tank of fuel, so that means we can avoid the motorways. Oh, that's interesting. The The detent for reverse. Ah, it got stuck. That's what's going on. So I found myself in reverse gear there. Slightly exciting. I'm being followed out by the Primera. Let's do the window up. Oh, my new camera mount is shaking around and causing some rattling, but there's nothing else rattling, so that's good. Always does feel a bit big and floaty after you've been in the Primera, but that's what I want. I want float. I really miss the comfort of the well, the comfort of any car, to be honest. Yeah, so far it feels good. It feels smooth. That vibration of diesel tick over is somewhat annoying. We've got a temperature gauge which reads slightly high, but he says that's nothing to worry about. But probably the coolant sensor, which apparently means the cooling fan also kicks in a bit early sometimes. But oh dear, I'm not going to be home till 7:15. The hublets are going to be very annoyed with me. Or maybe we can beat that. That can often be fun. Oh yes, that pulls it in just the way the Rover 75 doesn't. Because it's actually slightly less power than the 75. Oh yeah, it does. It actually rolls more than I was expecting. But it must be said, I'm not someone who finds body roll off-putting. Oh gosh, it's busy. We are coming out at rush hour. Yeah, nice column stalks, decent mirrors. Always help. Why is my new camera mount, or phone mount rather, so noisy? That's very irritating. Oh yeah. This has got that waft that I have been missing. This is very good. I'm glad we're not on this motorway very long. It's very busy. There is one big problem with this car, and people who study windscreen wipers will already know what it is. If I wash the windscreen, there is an enormous triangle of doom on this car. It's probably obscured from your view by the interior mirror, but believe me, that's a good thing that you can't see it. It is awful. See if I can adjust the backrest a bit. That's too much. There we go. It's a bit more upright. And we shall push on back to Wales. Oh yeah, this is nice. And more relaxing because the engine revs are so much lower. The Primera at an actual 70 miles an hour is just over 3,000 revs. We're doing very nearly 60, well 55 miles an hour. It's not even up to 2,000 revs yet. We'll open it up a bit more once we get onto the M53. But so far this is feeling like a good swap, and it is a straight swap. No cash has changed hands. And this is a car, I have either had to try one of these or a Xantia really, but Xantias leave me a little cold. I really like the styling of the Xantias, but the interiors are not the best. That said, I hope to try a Xantia with the same engine. This is the 2-litre HDI engine, 110 brake horsepower, much better than the 90 brake horsepower one, which can't pull skin off a rice pudding. Yeah, there's definitely a wheel balancing issue I can feel. Interesting bit of brake judder as well, so that might need some looking at. Oh wow, a Renault Traffic camper up ahead. There we go. Got a live reading on the MPG. Currently reckons we're doing 70 MPG. Be interesting to see what sort of figures we get out of this. But yeah, we're doing just over 2,000 revs at an indicated 70, which is apparently 68 miles an hour. So that's pretty accurate as these things go. Don't think I've got cruise control because it's only an SX, so fairly lowly on spec. But yeah, this is feeling pretty decent, so we'll keep pushing on home, and might do more of a review once I actually get back to Wales. Well, this has gone a bit hub nut. We were cruising along nicely, and then I realised I've left my bag in the boot of the Primera. That's my boot that's got the laptop in it, so that's not good times. So now going to have to go back to Chester again. Thankfully we've only got as far as Nantwich, but yeah, bit stupid feeling very stupid, feeling very sorry for the Primera's new owner. I'm sorry, Patrick. Well, there we go. We reclaimed the luggage. Luggage? Not the luggage. Well, I suppose it was luggage. Yes. I'm tired. It's been a really long day. Pushing on. Gonna have to stop for dinner. I have let everybody down with my silliness. Going to be too late for dinner because kids have to go to bed because of school. Actual school. They're going to school. This is very exciting. But yeah, you can see by my phone that there's a fair bit of wobble going on, so we're going to have to get that looked into. It's destroying the serenity, but it's otherwise very good. It's a bit typical hydro pneumatic Citroen. It still crashes a bit at times. Really sharp undulations, potholes, things like that do catch it out of it. It was ever thus once they went to a front strut style suspension. The double wishbone types tend to be a bit better, although the GSA can crash at times. It's not a perfect suspension system by any means, but it's only a nice comfortable driving position. A bit worried about MPG. When I was getting a bit of a shift on, the clock reckoned about 35 MPG, which is rubbish, but we'll see how it goes. It isn't the most powerful engine. It's brisk enough, but I'd say only just, to be honest. A bit more shove wouldn't go amiss. But yeah, it's kind of doing what I want it to do, really, apart from that wheel wobble. So we'll get that sorted out. Should be a lovely motor car. So I'm going to keep pushing on for Wales and yeah, try and forget about my daftness. Oh, £87 of diesel has just gone into this car. It had the fuel light on. Interestingly, it's still got the fuel light on now. That isn't very quick to respond. Slightly peculiar. 62 litres of fuel. That's a fair old bit. I love the fact that this seatbelt light comes on slightly when you have the handbrake on. That's quite an interesting feature. So we've got a classic bit of the old French electrics going on. The remote central locking doesn't seem to work, but there's quite a lot of buttons, so it could just be me getting it wrong. But yeah, otherwise this really doesn't seem a bad old bus. I know James Walsh of Practical Classics is a massive fan of these. I'll just concentrate on this junction. It's a bit of a nasty one, and has saved several. So yeah, I thought it was about time I gave one of these a go. And if someone offers you that sort of a swap when you're craving comfort, I think it's the way to go. It isn't a very powerful engine, but it certainly doesn't ever feel stressed. So this is the waft I've been looking for, and the wheel wobble has gone away at lower speeds as well. It's only once you get up to motorway speed limit but that really becomes an issue. But yeah, clearly got a big old fuel tank. Hopefully that'll last a fair while. We shall see. We're on one of my favourite Hoon circuits, so I thought we'd give it a go. Oh, interesting. Putting the handbrake on also puts a low fuel light on. That's what's going on there. Because I've just been having a bit of a thrash, should we say, and enjoying myself. And I was starting to think this wasn't as good as the XM. The XM is a car that feels enormous until you get it on a road like this, and it almost seems to shrink around you and feel much more sporty. And this seems to do that. But I must say the power is disappointing. 110 brake horsepower. Bearing in mind when the XM came out in 1989, it had a 2.1 litre turbo diesel engine producing 110 brake horsepower. So this is over 20 years later and slightly less capacity, exactly the same power. So it does feel underpowered. Oh yeah, you just, when you really start leaning on it, it just tightens up. It doesn't feel quite as taut as the Primera did, but it's now starting to make sense. I was previously in this journey just meandering along. I was starting to wonder, what is the point of hydro pneumatics suspension? Has it been superseded by improvements in regular suspension? But yeah, this is This is great, this is lovely. Just when you expect it to really start rolling, it just sort of doesn't. I don't know if it works, this hydroactive suspension, the same as the XM. The XM has a centre sphere, so you got a sphere for each corner and then a centre sphere as well, and that's the comfort sphere, and effectively that gets locked out when you start pushing on it. Oh, good golly, it's beautiful around here. I really hope you can actually see what's going on here. Extraordinary scenes. What amazing scenes here as I overlook Aberystwyth. The little lambs jumping around the field. Out of sight, they've all run away. But yeah, that's my new car, the Citroen C5. It's no oil painting, but I think I'm going to get on very well with it. I look forward to putting it through its paces. But yeah, hopefully you'll enjoy the ride with me. I'm enjoying the ride, and I look forward to seeing you in a future video. Farewell. Oh, they do need a buff.